You are not entitled to anything. If you start affecting that company's bottom line because you want to run your mouth because you think you're somebody you're not, yeah, they can show you the door. That's absolutely legal. It's called America, guys. It's freedom. Official Patriot gear, freedom right here. Shout out. Go get it.
Run the rats like I want them. Count up the rap, we gon' want them. Carrots, I want them opponents. Clarity beats, I see water. Talking cash out when I want them.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Tuesday, September 23rd. Move podcast, motivating others virtually every day. Thanks for joining us. Got a good one in for you today. Today we're going to talk about some accountability, but before we do, I do have a spotlight. Spotlight today is going to go for a gentleman named Brandon Mitchell. Brandon Mitchell was actually my supervisor, my manager. I don't like to use the word boss because he wasn't a boss. Boss is a toxic word to me. So he was a leader, and he took me under his wing in the Mid-America zone at Schwann's. And he was the one that taught me how to lead from a remote location. How do you drive results in buildings you're not in? How do you drive a safety culture in a building that you're not in? A lot of learning curves with this gentleman, a lot of long conversations, a lot of tough conversations, and really appreciate all the time and the conversations that you invested into me and my team while I was there. And I'm glad that we stay in touch to this day, and hope you're enjoying Minnesota. Hope the fam's good. So sure do miss you, and thank you for everything you've done for me, sir. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to some accountability, guys. Accountability is a big thing. Accountability is one of the leading drivers of the failures that we see in today's society, because we are mentally weak, physically weak, spiritually weak. We are all three. We're weak. The vast majority of us are. That's just a fact. That's not me just up here tooting a horn. That's just a fact. Why do I say that? Well, look around you. Just look around you. We can't even stop drinking pop. We can't even stop buying chips. You know, McDonald's is still making billions of dollars a year because that's how lazy we are. It's accountability, guys. Definition of accountability is the obligation or willingness to accept responsibility for one's actions, decisions, and their consequences. That's the definition. One more time. Accountability is the obligation or willingness to accept responsibilities for one's actions, decisions, and their consequences. You know, one of the easiest things to do in life when it comes to workout, investing in yourself, investing in your mind, the easiest thing to do is quit. It's the path of least resistance. When it gets hard, you quit. And I went and grabbed a few things. There's a lot of studies on this stuff, guys. There's a lot. The study I grabbed from the Gallup report, and I also grabbed some from the Partner in Leadership Workplace study. And I also did an HR executive study. I read that report as well, and just grabbed a few things, some snippets off there that I thought would coincide with what I'm talking about. So I'm going to talk about, what do we see, how are employers seeing accountability right now in our society from an employer standpoint. So you're talking from a CEO, a business executive, an entrepreneur, owner, whatever, somebody in that, what I would consider a senior level position. 91% of respondents ranked accountability at the top of their company's development needs, according to the Partner in Leadership Workplace study. 91% said accountability is the top priority that their company needs. I went to the HR side because they obviously they're in the trenches, guys. They're hiring, firing, write-ups, terminations, all these things. 72% of senior HR executives agreed that leadership accountability is a critical business issue. So they're seeing it. We're seeing it in the workplace. And I'm not going to go too much further into what's some more stats on in the HR field. It doesn't matter. Let's go to us. people like you and I. 21% of employees strongly agreed they lack performance because of morals and ethics. That is out of their control. 47% of workers received feedback last year from their manager. 53% did not. That is what these senior people are talking about, guys. And I come in here and I go in these companies and I try to dissect exactly what's going on, guys. This is easy. This is easy. This stuff is simple. It's called take care of your people. Have some accountability for yourself, for your people. You know, we see it. I see it. It's sad that it's even a business model to go tell a company how to go treat people. And you can actually go make money doing that. That is so sad that that's the society we live in. It really is. So some of the things, what are some of the things that affect accountability? So I just went and looked a few things up. Some things that maybe we don't realize. So number one thing is self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Well, what does that really actually mean? Well, the problem is studies suggest 85% of people overestimate their self-awareness. I was in this 85% for a long, long time. Thought I had full control, thought I could see the big picture, could see everything. Thought I was humble, thought I was grounded where I needed to be. And then I started being around people that actually were, and I realized how far away I actually was. And this is something I'm still working on. And I can tell you I'm in a much better spot today than I used to be, but it's because I work on mind, body, and spirit every single day. That is why this stuff is so important. And I'm going to tie this stuff in as we go. Second thing that affects accountability the most, my opinion, is moral and ethical beliefs. If you have strong personal ethics, you will foster accountability because it lines up with your values. Makes sense? Goes against your values to lie. Goes against your values to steal. Goes against your values to cheat. Right? That makes sense? A 2018 study found that 56% of employees felt pressure to compromise ethical standards at work. I have experienced this a couple times in my career, but I got to the point where I just turn around and walk out. Period. Like, good luck. Not for me. Best of luck. Now I don't have to worry about that. Now I'm my own boss. Now I have to get mad at myself. But I became my own boss. Large in part, there were more factors, but this was a big one for me. And I had a very, very hard time working underneath somebody, not Brandon. Brandon was one of the few, Brandon and Josh, but that actually had good morals and ethics. And it wasn't just about the bottom line. Third thing I feel like affects accountability is fear of consequences. I've seen this, and I've covered something recently. I'm not going to get into it, but this goes hand in hand with this. It's fear of punishment or social judgment can deter accountability. The fear of being judged in the public eye, or the fear of somebody saying something about you when you're not in whatever the case may be. Whatever, grow up. A 2020 study survey showed 69% of workers hesitated to speak up about workplace issues in fear of retaliation. I believe that number is probably a very accurate number, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually higher. The other thing, the last thing I'm going to point out that I feel like really drives this accountability thing, and maybe it's the biggest piece, is personality traits. You know, if you're a conscientious person like I really try to be every day, I try to teach my son and my wife and lead by example of being conscientious, have extreme ownership. You know, studies suggest, if you're a conscientious person, you're 20% more likely to admit fault in the moment. In the moment, not 20 minutes later, not the day later, not the next week, next year, none of that. What's the opposite of conscientious? It's something I feel like we have a lot of. Narcissism. Narcissistic people. Well, narcissistic people obviously blame everything and everyone else around them. It's never their fault. It's, well, they did this, or I was raised this way, or, my mom didn't show me that. And it's like, well, bud, you're 30 years old, so at what point are you going to put your big boy pants on and go show yourself something? Guys, you can't keep falling back to my childhood, my upbringing. I understand people's upbringing. Some people's upbringing sucked. I get it. I do. I think we can all admit all of our parents made mistakes in some way, shape, or form. Some of them had better intentions than others. But regardless, there were mistakes made. But why would you hang that over your parents' head? Instead, understand they probably did the best they could in the situation that they were in to try to provide for you and love you. And maybe you can take their shortcomings and learn from them and not dangle them over somebody. And then when you have kids, you can go apply whatever you feel like you've learned, and hopefully you just keep it moving, right? Accountability. And I mentioned yesterday in one of my little TikTok shorts, guys, like the new thing that is 75 hard. Like, come on, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, you are not going to just wake up and start doing 75 hard and complete that challenge. That challenge is extremely hard. You're going to have to prep yourself, prep your body before you just walk into something like that. But you see all this new thing, and people want to jump on it. You know, and you see the movie or the show Alone. There's another example of people trying to do things solo. It never works. It's accountability 101. It's realizing I can't do this on my own. I'm not strong enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not wise enough. I need help. I need to expand my network. It's accountability. It's owning up. It's surrounding yourself with the right people. And accountability is one of the things that if you can correct your own accountability, the rest is history. How do you correct this, Steve? Well, I work on mind, body, and spirit. I preach mind, body, and spirit. Practice, day in, day out, guys. Every single day, 365 days a year. Simple. No days off. Why? This is why. Accountability. You develop discipline. Discipline equals accountability. They go hand in hand. You cannot practice mind, body, and spirit and not become an accountable person. It's impossible. Because once you open the good book of the Lord, you're going to become humble. And then you're going to go to the gym. You're going to become humble. And then you're going to open up a book. And you're going to put new ideas in your brain. You mix that up. Humble, humble, new ideas. Humble, humble, new ideas. Humble, humble, new ideas. You guys follow? See how this snowballs? That's why it is mightily important you do not skip. It's for you, not for me. I do what I need to do. But I'm telling you, this will change your entire life. Mind, body, spirit. Every single day. It doesn't have to be in that order. Every day. All three of your things. It's accountability, guys. And I had a list on this back page on, what are some things that I think people could do to become more accountable, set clear goals, communicate, transparent, and all that's true. It is. But at the end of the day, none of that's going to work unless you start focusing on mind, body, and spirit, because that's what's going to keep longevity in this stuff. That's long term. Yeah, you can do that stuff for a quick pick-me-up, quick boost, but you're not going to have anything substantial until you actually start investing in yourself. And accountability is a big thing that we lack in our society. HR notice it. Senior executives notice it. Our employees notice it. We, I would say, probably notice this, where you can say something but you don't want the consequences. And that's a big thing in our society. People are saying stuff and losing their jobs. Like, yeah, you have a freedom of speech, but as a business owner, I also have a right to terminate you for no reason. It's because I don't want to pay you anymore, because my business model changed, because whatever. It's called right to work. So we are entitled to nothing. You are entitled to nothing. You need to be thankful you have your job. I don't care if you've been there a year, 5 years, 20 or 30. It doesn't matter. They are not obligated to keep you. I'm sorry if this is the first time you're hearing this or whatever. They are not obligated to keep you. You are entitled to nothing. You need to wake up and thank your lucky stars they let you back in the building every single day. It's a sense of entitlement, guys. It's gross. Grow up. I don't necessarily think it's comical to see people lose their jobs, because it's people's livelihoods, people's kids. But at the same time, there are consequences to your actions. You can't just go around saying whatever you want to say, then not expect something on the back end. Well, it wasn't at work. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Companies have an image to uphold. They can't have X employees on their team, or it affects X business. It affects their bottom line. Bottom line is what keeps businesses open. You are not entitled to anything. If you start affecting that company's bottom line because you want to run your mouth because you think you're somebody you're not, yeah, they can show you the door. That's absolutely legal. It's called America, guys. It's freedom. Official Patriot gear, freedom right here. Shout out. Go get it. Freedom. It's accountability, guys. So we all got to work on it. We are a very, very weak society as a whole. I mean, we have some very, very strong people in our society. Way stronger than me, way tougher, way more disciplined, all the things. But as a collective group, guys, we struggle. We struggle mightily. We can't push through adversity. We can't help our neighbor. We can't do anything. We're so selfish, so involved in ourselves. We can't even take care of ourselves. It's sad. It truly is sad. And I will keep telling you, I don't think everybody needs to look like a bodybuilder. That's not what I'm saying here. But there's a difference. You can tell. I can tell by looking at somebody's skin complexion whether they take care of their body. When you surround yourself with people, you can just tell. You can tell by their glow. Remember when I talked about glow in my first episode? Remember that? I met a guy and I realized immediately something was different. Glow. I can tell as soon as I meet somebody where they take care of their body. You can't hide that stuff, guys. It's not about pecs and shoulders and abs. And yeah, that stuff looks nice. But I can tell before I can see anything. I can tell by looking at your skin whether you take care of yourself. That's how easy this stuff is to tell, guys. And it is so sad. It is super, super sad when you see people like, man, if you only knew. If you only knew. But it starts with accountability. You're not going to get anywhere unless you guys address this stuff right here. Step one. Step one is being accountable. Being accountable for all the mistakes that you've made, all your flaws that you have. And you don't have to voice them to the world. But I suggest you go lock yourself in a room and go meet your God that you want to follow and go have an honest, humble conversation. So that is going to be the conclusion of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Accountability is a big thing, guys. I preach this stuff to my son all the time. My wife and I talk about accountability all the time. It's one of the biggest factors, one of the biggest driving factors that you're going to have as you develop your career. I tell my son, if you just show up to work every day and do your job, you are better than 80% of the people that you're going to have to go up against. Just by simply doing that. That's how sad and weak we are when I talk about accountability. And that's a fact. That's a statistical fact, actually. You bump it up. Well, Dad, how do I get to the best? Well, 80 to 90%, you're going to have to be a little bit more meticulous. You're going to have to care a little bit more, put a little bit more pride and passion in what you're doing. But if you can do that every day, you're going to be better than 90% of the people you have to go up against. He says, well, Dad, I want to get in the elite. I want to be the 100%. Okay, well, bud, I'm going to tell you something. That last 10%, but that's just a dogfight. That's where your mom and I stay. It's just a dogfight in there. Okay, it's just the best of the best wrestling around. And if you get the right group of people, you're not really wrestling. You're sharing ideas. You're sharing wisdom. You're sharing knowledge. You're helping each other out. You're giving each other advice. You're taking advice, constructive criticism, all the things. I could just go on and on and on and on. But guys, I have these conversations almost every single day with people. Literally, almost every day. Stuff changed my life. I could only dream the days I used to clock into a factory making $11 an hour. I could go sit in a room and have these kinds of conversations on a daily basis. I could only dream. This stuff changed my life completely. So, thanks for listening. Move Podcast, motivating others virtually every day. Keep it moving, guys. God bless.